Hello, you are welcome again to my channel. My name is Blessing Ejechi. Today, I want to share with you the secret to a happy marriage. The secret to a happy marriage. These secrets are some of the keys to a successful marriage. I want to bring this as a way of testimony from my own personal experience. When I got married, for some period of years, I was experiencing crisis. I was experiencing troubles in my marriage. But a time came that I took some decisions. And when I began to work with this decision, I see that my relationship with my wife began to become more cordial. And my marriage began to become successful. And the kind of happiness I was beginning to have in my marriage, I never experienced that before. So from there, I came to discover that a successful marriage is possible and happiness in marriage is also very, very possible. It depends on the key that you are applying. First key that I actually applied is deciding to love my wife unconditionally. Before now, anything that my wife does, I usually frown at it. I usually nag about many things. I want to correct every mistake that she make. I want to actually make some points. Anytime she do something that I do not like, I want to tell her that, look, this thing that you did is very wrong and I do not like it. The more I begin to correct everything that she say, the more I begin to point at every error that she actually commit. I see that the rate of argument in the home begin to increase. After correcting these errors, I am not happy. She's not happy. Sometimes most of these things lead to arguments, and we argued a lot. But a time came that I began to overlook most of these things, and I decided to love her unconditionally. So I said the love that I will have for my wife is not going to be based on her performance. Whether she do good or she does not do good, I want to love her just the way Christ loved me. Because Christ does not love me because I am a saint. Even when I was still a sinner, Christ loved me and he died for me. And I decided to love her. So I stopped complaining about things that I ought to complain. I start loving her. Even when she do something bad, I decide to overlook them. And when I started practicing this, one thing that actually happened to me is that I stopped seeing most of all these things. I stopped seeing our errors. I began to overlook them. And the things that actually provoked me before, they were no longer provoking me. When I see most of all these things, I do not see it as a challenge. I do not see it as error. So my decision to love my wife unconditionally actually paved a very big road for happiness in my life, not only in my marriage. My wife became happy and I also became more happy. So if you want to be happier in your marriage, you must decide to love your spouse unconditionally. It will not take anything from you. Loving your spouse unconditionally is going to bring more happiness and joy in your marriage. And the second thing that I need to share with you now is you should be thinking futuristic. Look at the future of your marriage. Look at the future of your life. Don't dwell on the present. Don't dwell on the past. It is possible that your spouse may have done certain things that he or she ought not to do previously. When you begin to refer to the past, you begin to nag about the past, your marriage is not going to be as the way you want it to be. So always look at the future. Look at the plans you and your wife or your husband have tomorrow and use all your effort that you use to complain to put into that so that your marriage will be better tomorrow. And the third thing I would like you to understand is if you want your marriage to be happy and you want your marriage to be successful, you must believe in your spouse. Believing in your spouse is giving your spouse a vote of confidence. Believing in your spouse will boost your spouse's self-esteem and will also make your spouse in turn to believe you. If you don't believe your spouse, you do not trust your spouse, you are going to give yourself a lot of heartache, and it's going to do more harm than good to you. So one of the keys that will help you is believing in your spouse's ability to make decision, to plan with you, and to lead a successful marriage. There are some people that do not believe in their spouse ability. Believe in your spouse ability, even when you know that there are things that they cannot do. Just trust them. You'll be surprised that your spouse can do the things that are unimaginable, the things that you think he or she cannot do. When you trust them, to give them the chance and opportunity to do what you want them to do, you'll be surprised at what they can do. And the fourth thing that can help you to lead a successful marriage is for you to overlook your spouse's errors. Look, everybody that is in this world have one weakness or the other. Everybody you see in this world, nobody is perfect. So if nobody is perfect, including you, you are not perfect. There is a tendency for you to make mistakes. There is also a tendency for your spouse to make mistakes. So if mistakes abound in your life, you should be aware that your spouse is going to make a lot of mistakes. So when you see these mistakes, you must learn to overlook them. When you begin to overlook some of the errors of your wife or your husband, you see that the happiness that will come into your marriage is going to soar. This is the reason why we are still called children of God. There are some times that God overlook our errors. He overlook our sin. He knows that we are not perfect. And even when we say, I am sorry, He overlook us. He do not punish us with what we have done. If God decides to punish us with our errors, with our sin, with our mistakes, who is going to stand before God? Nobody is going to stand before God. So you must learn, if you want to be happy in your marriage and relationships, to overlook the errors of your spouse. And when you do that, see that happiness will reign in your marriage. God bless you. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I would like you to do so. God bless you.